The driver at the wheel of that tractor trailer beside you on the 400 may have had only a few weeks of training before getting hired.
Toronto OPP on scene here with this single vehicle collision involving a tractor trailer rollover.
The 22-year-old driver of this truck in hospital right now with critical life-threatening injuries.
Transport truck versus a red sedan.
Roads are dry, conditions are great, but things happen fast.
And that's putting other drivers and themselves at risk.
A tanker truck just flipped over.
In Ontario, you can earn your big rig license after just over 103 hours of training, with as few as 32 on the road. Once you complete those hours, you can attempt a road test, and if you pass, well, you got your license. Now consider this. You need more training to become a hairstylist. Kim Richardson and Mike Millian are calling for a crackdown on their own industry. Once you get that AZ license, you could be driving a fully loaded truck down the 401 tomorrow.
You could be operating a set of B trains that weighs up to 140,000 pounds all by yourself.
That same day.
Yeah.
That same day.
Ontario became the first province to mandate a bare minimum in training in 2017. Before that, there was no requirement anywhere in Canada. The move was meant to rid the province of shady schools teaching would-be truckers just enough to pass a test. But the number of trucking schools has exploded.
We got started in 1989. There was 5 schools in the entire province.
Fast forward to 2023, there are nearly 200 registered with the Ministry of Colleges and Universities, more than half in Mississauga and Brampton alone, all training new drivers under lax oversight.
So now they're required to teach 103.5 hours, but they're not teaching it.
Millian is the president of the Private Motor Truck Council of Canada.
You're going to weed out the bad ones if you can guarantee they're being audited properly every 2 years. But if nobody goes in and audits them, there's 8 people in the entire province to audit truck driving schools.
And some of those schools have approval from the Ministry of Transportation to test and license the students who pay to train them. According to the Auditor General, drivers whose instructor was also their examiner had a 95% pass rate. A quarter of carriers testing their own drivers ranked among the worst 1% of all carriers for at-fault collisions.
The 3 questions we hear all the time: how much, how long, and when's my test? And those are 3 of the worst questions you can ask.
4.5, so I got an inch of travel.
Richardson's truck driving school offers retraining to those who are licensed but can't get jobs. Many of them, he says, have been sold into the industry on promises of high pay and instant job offers. Then, when they shop for schools, there are huge disparities in pricing and length of courses.
Thousands who get their license annually and don't stay in the industry.
At the same time, Canada is struggling to fill about 27,000 truck driver vacancies.
It's like nails going down a chalkboard for me, because there's not a driver shortage. There's a shortage of qualified drivers. The other side of that coin is there's a ton of great drivers out there too. Yeah. We're awful nervous about being out there with some of these folks.
Reputable companies will often put their newly licensed drivers through a finishing program to give them real-world experience before hitting the road on their own. That's what many insiders say has been the missing link. Tomorrow, do truckers know how to brake properly? Brake violations are the #1 reason trucks are taken off the road. We put drivers to the test at this En route.